What's going on, guys? Well, right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and tell you this video is brought to you by one of my Patreons, Daniel Howard. Daniel actually messaged me last month and said, hey, can you give me the top 5 Call of Duty games? I'm really getting into Call of Duty, and I want to know your take on the franchise and which ones are the best ones. And I messaged him back and said, unfortunately, I fucking hate that franchise, so I can't give you a top 5 best Call of Duty games because I actually don't like any of them. So would you like if I did a top 5 video on games or shooters to play instead of Call of Duty? And he was all for it. So this video is going to be my top 5 video games or shooters to play instead of Call of Duty. Now let me go ahead and say, I know Call of Duty fans are very passionate out there. Please do not turn this video into just a gigantic hate-filled bomb in the comment sections. If you love Call of Duty, by all means, go and play it. I'm glad you enjoy it. I hate it for many reasons that I'm not going to get into this with this video. I think there's much better video games out there, and I'm going to get into those here. So just enjoy my list for what it is. If you like Call of Duty, if you're a Call of Duty fan, by all means, be a Call of Duty fan. So, number 5, starting right off with a really one hell of a deal, if you can get a hold of this at the sale price that I got a hold of it on, and that's Bioshock the Collection. Now, I had never played a Bioshock game whenever they were first released last generation. It was a really big, popular game. I think I rented it, and I didn't really get into it too much because of some of the mechanics with it, and I never really replayed it again. Well, the collection came out, and it's 3 Bioshock games. Bioshock 1, Bioshock 2, and Bioshock Infinite, which people often debate which one's better, Bioshock or Bioshock Infinite. So I figured, you know what? For $30, which is what I got it for, why not? 3 big, popular games. One of them's got to be great, right? Well, except for the second one, which is still a pretty decent game, Bioshock and Bioshock Infinite, or Infinity, however you want to call it, are awesome games. They're great shooters. Bioshock 1 and Bioshock Infinity have just some of the best stories that you're going to find in a shooter. A lot of really mind-bending, not only environments and settings and characters, but just the twists that are involved in these storylines. So if you're big on story, which is one of the reasons I dislike Call of Duty, is the lack of story in their single player and just the gravity of what goes on in those games, this is a very, very good alternate for you. If you like storylines, if you like really weird and strange settings and really unique settings and really unique villains and boss battles and everything, Bioshock and Bioshock Infinite, and you might even like Bioshock 2 as well, cannot go wrong with that for the price. So if you like shooters, if you want something different and very, very unique and very cinematic, check out Bioshock the Collection. You will not be disappointed. Number 4 is going to be Overwatch. Now, this is a game that blew up last year. It was a huge success. I think it won a ton of awards for best shooter and best multiplayer game. So most people play Call of Duty for multiplayer shooting, and Overwatch is a great alternate for that. If you love multiplayer shooting, this is basically the cream of the crop that's out there right now. It's a really fun game. It's really zany. You got a lot of different characters with unique abilities and looks, and they have very unique advantages and disadvantages in the battle. Some of them aren't really meant to shoot, they're meant to heal their team. Other guys are meant to be just pummeling through everybody while everybody else just kind of stands back. And you got a lot of variety in gameplay. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of multiplayer games, so this is not a game that I'm absolutely addicted to, but it is a multiplayer game that I played the hell out of for about a month, month and a half, which is huge for me. I usually play multiplayer maybe once or twice if I play it at all, and then I move on to something else. I get very bored by multiplayer online gameplay, but this was really fun, and I know a lot of people that still to this day, anytime they have free time, they play Overwatch. So if you're into Call of Duty for the online multiplayer shooting, definitely give Overwatch a chance. I think you will like that one as well. Number 3 is going to be a game that I was blown away by because I didn't really care for some of the previous installments in the games, mostly because at the time I didn't have the patience to go through them and dedicate the amount of time that these games require, and there is a ton of time to be spent in Fallout 4. Fallout 4 is an awesome game, a really good story, even though the twist that's in the game I don't think is really all that well handled and really that satisfying. It doesn't really take away from your enjoyment of the game. It's not as good as the game builds it up to be as far as this huge revelation, but the gameplay, the story elements, the characters that you go, the exploration, just the vastness of this game. Hundreds of hours you can dump into this and still not see everything in Fallout 4. If you like games like that, open world RPGs where you kind of gain armor and looting and everything like that, Fallout 4 is an awesome game to play. The shooting mechanics are really good. You actually get this little slowdown power. Like if you see people, you can kind of go into the slowdown mode and you can select which body parts you want to shoot on which enemies. And you have a certain amount of time to do it, and then you activate it, and all of a sudden you see this animation of your guy just taking people out. Very fun game, very innovative, very engrossing. Like if you get into this game, you will play nothing else except for Fallout 4 for weeks on end. So cannot recommend Fallout 4 enough. It was one of my favorite games of, I think, maybe 2 years ago now, if not last year, but very cool game. Cannot recommend it enough. Fallout 4 is number 3. Number 2 is Doom. Doom is an awesome franchise that has went through many incarnations. You had the old school Doom that I actually played on Sega Genesis, and it's a very, very bare bones shooter, but just for how gory and demonic and everything it was a huge success. Never got to play Doom 2. I did play Doom 3 on Xbox, one of the more disappointing games I've ever played. Not that it was a bad game, it's a very boring game. It's got a lot of innovations as far as the graphics and everything like that, but just overall, it was a very slow-paced Doom game. Doom for PS4 and Xbox One is anything but that. This game is just freaking high energy, octane insanity from the time you click start until the time the credits roll in this game. You go in, and there is times when you will literally be surrounded by dozens of enemies, and it's frantic as hell, trying to shoot everything you possibly can. You're jumping around, you're zipping around, trying to grab health, trying to shoot this guy, dodge this guy. It is insane. If you like just frantic shooting, if you like just insanity to the point where you do not understand how the hell you're going to get out of this situation, but you're going to fucking shoot at everything you possibly can and hope for the best, Doom gives you situations like that about 5 times per level, and there's about at least 8 to 9 hours of gameplay in this game. It's one of the best shooters that I've played in a very long time. It's the best Doom game in my opinion, even over the originals. I know that's sacred, but I love the hell out of this game. If you are into Call of Duty for just awesome, frantic gameplay, which I know Call of Duty does have sometimes, to me, it's not going to be any better than Doom. Doom is badass. It's dark, it's bloody and gory as hell. It's actually got not really a huge in-depth story, but a cool little tie to the original games and a cool progression in the story for where things could go in a sequel, which I really hope we get. Some of the most badass enemies you're going to get, some of the coolest boss battles. Just this game was awesome. Front to back, start to finish, badass. So definitely check out Doom. That is my number 2. But my number 1 is a shooter that I have championed for a long time. I have defended it. I have brought it up in conversations when people talk about underrated games, and they finally gave it the HD remake that it long deserved. And luckily, it seemed to make a pretty good amount of money and get a lot more fans for a franchise that should have been, but it's probably still going to be just one game, and that's Bulletstorm. Bulletstorm, the full clip edition. I have a full review for it on my channel if you want to check that out, but this game is one of the coolest and most innovative first-person shooters you're going to play. It's not just your traditional run around and shoot things. You have a leash, you have a kick move, you have a bunch of different weapons, and you basically are trying to do these things they call skill shots, where you like leash somebody in their head and throw them into the air and launch a nuke into them, and they splatter all over the place, and they get called like blood rain, or you'll get a little achievement basically every time you kill them in a creative way. You can stomp people into spikes, you can leash people's necks and take their heads off. There is hundreds of different ways to kill people in this game in so many violent and creative ways that it's endlessly fun. From the beginning of this game, every single stage you get to just gets more crazy, more zany. The humor is actually pretty good. Not everything lands in it. There is some pretty stupid humor, but for the most part, it's actually pretty funny. Like there's a line that says, "I'm gonna kill your dicks." You'll see it whenever you see the game. It'll make a lot more sense, kind of. But it's just a fun game. From one of the more fun, just pure entertaining, fun shooters that you can find. The full clip edition is actually really affordable. It's got this badass bonus feature where you can add Duke Nukem into the game and play as Duke Nukem. It's got new maps and new multiplayer modes and stuff like that, like new things all over the place in a game that was already awesome in the shiny package that it was last generation, and now it's an even shinier package with a lot more awesome into it. Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition is a shooter that's just criminally underrated. Criminally underrated. This should have been a franchise where we had Bulletstorm 2 and possibly even Bulletstorm 3 by now. And I'm really still holding out that maybe we'll get a sequel one day, because this game is just pure badass and one of the more underrated hidden gems you're going to find. So that had to rise up into my list to be my number 1 game to play instead of Call of Duty. So check all of those games out, guys. Thank you for this topic, Daniel. Hopefully some of these games interest you. If they do, check them out and please let me know what you think about them. I'm real curious to see if you enjoy this more or as much as Call of Duty. And just let me know what you think about them, especially all you other guys as well. If you play any of these games, or if you have played any of these games, Put your thoughts down in the comment section below on all 5 of these, including the Call of Duty franchise if you want to defend it, or say what your actual top 5 Call of Duty games are to maybe help Daniel out for his Call of Duty itch. Please put that down in the comment section below, guys, and we will talk about it. Please like and share this video. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. If you want to join me over on my Patreon page, which is where Daniel is on, and join all the fun of this Patreon request month that I'm doing, and probably going to spill over into December as well, go to www.patreon.com/CodyLeach, or you can look down for the link down below, as well as my social media links. And if you want to check out some more of my videos, as always, you can check out a few more by clicking right over here.